Hello, dear. Jaime Fleres here, Shamanic Astrologer and Soul Guide, and this is my monthly astrology report for February 2022. So I have to laugh because just as I was about to record this, I got a message from a friend and it said, welcome to the second month. We achieved a great feat just by being here. And that couldn't be more perfectly timed because indeed, it is a great feat that here we are. We've made it this far, y'all. We've made it this far. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the astrology of this month. So I'm coming to you on February 1st. That's when I'm recording this. It is also the new moon in Aquarius. So we are in an Aquarian lunation. If you follow my work, you know that every month we look at this lunation, whatever the archetype is of the lunation, as the energy that we're walking with for the next month. How are we engaging with this brilliant, quirky, rebellious, revolutionary change agent that is the Aquarian energy within us and among us. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the themes of the astrology this month and how we can work with them. And before I do that, though, I just want to make a few quick announcements. I'll be talking shortly here about the dance of Venus and Mars in the sky, particularly in February and March of 2022. But I have a special reading I've put together, and this is for those who are interested in doing this inner work of marrying the masculine and feminine within them and wanting to use the astrology perspective from the Shamanic Astrology paradigm to do some more of this wholeness work within. So I have a special reading that I'm offering at this time to honor the dance of Venus and Mars in the sky. So you can check out and register for one of those sessions on my website, which is sacredhearthealingarts.com. And you can sign up and we can dive into all of that goodness together. And I have a few other things happening this month. If you're local here, I'm here in Asheville, North Carolina. If you're local, I'm doing a workshop on February 15th here in town. And it is all about this sacred union, this wholeness inside of ourselves with the marrying of the masculine and feminine within us. So if you're interested in that work, I hope you'll join us for that workshop. I'll have details on my website here. If they're not already there, they'll be there super soon. And you can always email me about any of the things that I share here on the videos that you're interested in. A couple more announcements. On April 30th, we are gathering for the Soul Expo in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is going to be a gathering of like-hearted souls, of community, coming back together to explore the tools of consciousness through, there'll be vendors, there'll be healers. I'll be doing astrology readings there, and I'll also be doing a presentation on astrology at the soul level. So please join us there. I think it's thesoulexpo.com. You can get more information and register to join us for that event on April 30th. And then one more announcement before I get into the astrology is that I am so delighted. I just got confirmation. I'll be hosting a retreat here in North Carolina in the mountains, the Southern Appalachian Mountains, on August. It's the 11th to the 15th. And this is a soul and nature immersion, and it's going to be amazing. The land that we're going to be collaborating with is beautiful and powerful and has lots of medicine to share with us. So stay tuned for more information about that retreat, which is called the Wild Grace Retreat. Okay, let's dive into the astrology. So here we are on the new moon in Aquarius. This new moon is touching this square that we've had ongoing between Saturn and Uranus. So this new moon is conjunct Saturn and square Uranus. Now they've already come. So this is one of the big themes of the astrology of 2021, which was this square between Saturn and Uranus. We've had them, in 2021, they had this series of 3 squares. I couldn't tell you the dates off the top of the head, but the last one was on Christmas Eve. And they're still in this, they're still in this orb, we call it, of the square, but they don't actually make an exact connection. Actually, until October 4th of 2022, they'll make one more connection just to make sure we got all the medicine that they came to offer us. But this square between Saturn and Uranus, you probably heard me talk about before, but if not, I'm going to share briefly. This is really illuminating the theme within us collectively and personally between the forces of freedom and control. between what has been, the existing structures on our planet and within us, and the new that is coming in. The way, old business as usual, new story, new earth, new game in town. And so it's really that dynamic kind of tension and crisis in action between these two forces, which we've seen illuminated on the world stage as well as within our own lives. Particularly for 2021, we could say beyond that. But it's getting kind of it's getting kind of ignited here with the new moon this month. So again, more opportunities to get free, to continue to awaken, to continue to find freedom within our own lives and within our connections with others and the world. So we have that going on. Venus is conjunct Vesta right now. So let's talk about Venus, and then we'll talk about her dance with Mars upcoming. So just a little context. Venus is just beginning her new 19-month cycle with the overtone of Capricorn. She had just completed right around the new year, the calendar new year. She completed her 19-month cycle in Gemini. So she's on a new journey, a new heroine's journey. She has just come out of retrograde. She stationed direct on January 29th, so the end of this last month, a couple days ago. And she's out of retrograde. She's basically in her morning star phase. So she's risen as a morning star. And one of the easy ways I have taught a whole class about Venus's journey, but Venus's journey is the journey of Innana. So I really encourage you, because of what's going on with Pluto right now and what's going on with Venus, I encourage you to go read more about the myth of Innana. This is an ancient Sumerian myth that, some argue is actually the story that was created to describe the cycle of Venus herself in the sky, as the ancient sky watchers were tracking the movement of these planetary bodies and stars out in the sky. But it's a very important story of death and rebirth. So there's a beautiful book called The Descent. What is it called? I had it. I got a little bit of a swimmy brain because of a recent illness. The Journey of Descent? The Descent? Oh, I might have to put it in the show notes, in the notes here. I will put the name of that book in the notes below when I look it up. Okay, Journey of Innana. I digress. Okay, let's go back. So Venus is she's actually in her descent phase. So she's, astrologically, mythologically, Venus is emerged from her cocoon. She's embarking on a new journey. And the descent phase of Venus's and the heroine's journey and Innana, which is all kind of synonymous here, is Venus is, the feminine in all creation is going through a series of gates, a series of initiations where she's being asked to shed something that masks her true essence, some distortion, some veil, some vestment. In the story of Innana, she has to remove items of clothing from the upper world, from the middle world as she descends down into the underworld. She has to remove all that is not of her true essential nature. So that's part of what Venus is up to right now. She is conjunct Vesta right now. So she is, anytime two planets come together or planetary bodies come together, there's this conversation, there's this synergy that happens. And so Vesta is the asteroid goddess of the Virgin. So we're going to put away the patriarchal distortion of what that word means. In Virgin, we're going to define here as she who is whole unto herself. So this is the high priestess energy. This is the feminine who is whole. So Venus is coming into conversation with Vesta. They're going to walk together for a while. Not literally, but you know what I mean. So they're going to walk together for a while. So this is about wholeness. This is a time for feminine wholeness, for human wholeness, right? So we have this activation of that wholeness principle here. And then shortly thereafter, right around Valentine's Day, actually, Venus and Mars, they're starting to come together right now, but Venus and Mars will do this beautiful dance together in the sky where they'll come together exactly and then go like a degree apart and then come back together. And they're going to dance together for most of February and well into March. So what does this mean for us? Mars is the masculine in all creation, right? Represents that archetypally and embodies that consciousness in the planetary system that we work with in astrology. And Venus is the feminine in all creation. So they're coming together to do this dance. We also have Vesta in the mix, right? Which is the asteroid of wholeness. So this is such a beautiful time for us to do the work of inner wholeness, of marrying the inner feminine and the inner masculine together, the anima, the animus, the lover and the beloved, right? This is a ripe, beautiful moment for that work. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm doing special readings just around this piece of the astrology and this piece of archetypal wholeness work right now. So go to my website and book us a session so we can dive into all this yumminess as it pertains to you. This is really an opportunity for us to look at this inner marriage. So how do we bring these two kind of primary forces in the of all creation, right? The feminine and the masculine, the yin and the yang. How do we marry them together inside of ourselves? And what becomes possible when the two are united within us? So that's the work of these readings that I'll be offering, as well as the workshop that I'm offering locally here in Asheville this month. But I would consider, whether you reach out to connect around that work or not, begin to consider, how do I express my feminine essence, my inner feminine? How do I express my inner masculine? If I'm female identified, how do I project masculine energies or archetypes onto others? And how do I actually recall those projections and learn to embody my own inner masculine? For those who are male identified or masculine identified as their primary energy, how do I outsource my feminine energy to those outside of me? And then how can I bring that back in and embody that and walk with my own inner feminine as I go through this journey of life? So that's the Venus and Mars dance. It's a beautiful time to do this work. Later on, I believe it's early March, this dance of Mars and Venus in the sky will also meet up with Pluto. So we'll also have this opportunity to kind of compost anything that's ready to be let go of. So it's a beautiful time to do the inner marriage work. Okay. Let's see. Have I talked about, I had to record this twice, so I'm trying to remember what I've talked about in this video. Mercury goes direct. I don't think I've talked about that yet. Mercury goes direct on February 3rd. So we had Mercury retrograde for much of, especially the latter half of January, and we had Venus retrograde all of January. So we had these inner planets in this kind of introspective, sort of deep contemplation time. Now they're both moving direct, or Venus has gone direct, Mercury's about to go direct. And we have a period of time, most of February, March, April, and then a little bit into May, where all the planets are direct. So this could be a time to catch that wave of forward momentum in your life. So if you've been kind of cocooned, if you've been in a stall or a pause with something within your own inner landscape or in your own life, this might be a time where you're able to kind of catch that wave of progress to actually to move forward in some way. So just know that that's kind of a big shift in the astrological energy, moving from January to February and then into the spring, early spring. Okay, so direct, what else we got? Okay, let's talk about the Pluto return. So I've talked about this a little bit already, this US Pluto return. So a little bit about this here. Humans don't live long enough to have a Pluto return, but countries do. And the United States is about to hit its exact return of Pluto to the place it was when the United States was born, when it was conceived back in 1776. So this means, so basically Pluto takes 248 years or so. We have to account for the wobble of the Earth, but 248 years or so to return to the same place in the sky as it was before. And so this is a massive initiation on a country level and really a global level for all of us. And I talk about the Pluto cycle on my blog when it's under a post that looks at the 2022 astrology. But this is a long cycle. We've already been feeling it, and we will continue to feel it. It will definitely, Pluto is a long-acting initiator, so we will continue to feel it until about 2024-ish. But we have this exact return happening this month. And it happens to fall on President's Day, which I think the universe is so witty and funny. Of course it is happening on President's Day. So that's February 21st. So it's going exact on the 21st. So what does this mean? The Pluto return. So Pluto is an underworld initiator. It brings us down and in, versus like up and out. It's an underworld initiator. It asks us to face our deepest fears. It asks us to face our intense feelings. Pluto is essentially about empowerment. That is its ultimate evolutionary function and what it does for us as a planetary initiator. But often what Pluto does first is it disempowers us. So there's often forces beyond our control that begin to unfold that require surrender. So there's no way to think our way out of the problems or the situations at hand. There's no way to will our way out. There's no way to ignore what's happening. It's a situation that overwhelms, that requires us to surrender. Ultimately, Pluto's job is to re-empower us. So one of the things that Pluto does is it's similar to that Innana journey of stripping away all those false layers of identity or image or whatever from our essence. So, as a country, the United States was founded upon a set of principles, a set of values, an essence. Like it has an essential quality, right? That was there like as an imprint at birth, right? Just the way we all are imprinted at birth with particular suite of energies, right? Anything that's been built on top of that isn't true to the essence of the thing, in this case the country of the United States, is going to be up for review and is going to have to be shed and composted and killed, we could say, killed off in order for new life to emerge. So a lot of us who are looking at this are looking at these old kind of the patriarchal kind of layers and distortions that have been put upon the United States and really much on a much larger scale, most of the Western world, we could say at the very least. This essential idea that humanity has been experimenting with, which is that we have dominion over nature and we're here to conquer it and kind of improve upon it based on our own will. A lot of that corrupted energy, which is never really native to humanity, needs to be composted now, and we're being called back into a return to harmony with the greater forces of life, with the web of life, to come back into harmony, into interrelationship. So that's kind of the bigger force. More specifically, this Pluto return is happening in the United States' second house. Second house is associated with finances, with money, resources, values, all of those things. So that's kind of the domain in which this return is happening. I'm just thinking if there's anything else I want to share about that. Let's see. There's a lot more I could say about that, but I think I'm going to leave it at that because we're almost at 20 minutes. So, in summary, we have this Aquarian energy that we really worked with and danced with in 2021, coming back during this new moon, this lunation in Aquarius, right, with this activation of the Pluto-Uranus square. We have all these planets going direct, so forward momentum. Let us intend to kind of catch that wave. We have this beautiful dance of Mars and Venus in the sky with Vesta, the asteroid of wholeness, helping us to embody this inner union, this inner wholeness within ourselves. And we have the Pluto return going exact for the United States this month. So those are some of the big ones. Beautiful opportunity to just continue to do whatever inner work is presenting itself to you, being good to yourself, being good to others. If you're interested in the reading, please check out my website, sacredhearthealingarts.com. I've also got that workshop, the upcoming expo in April, and my retreat in August. So I hope you'll connect in the ways that you feel inspired. Super great to be with you. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you next month. Bye-bye.